Amazing. Okay. Perfect. We are live. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Surprise, surprise. I'm here. Actually, I'm going to pull you guys up in case some of you are able to catch this chat live. Yeah, spontaneously, I just really got excited about this topic. And so thought I'm going to pop on into the group and connect with you all because this is, for one, such a yummy topic. And I want to come and be with you. And I want to share this wisdom and insight. So we're talking about sex magic and Tantra because I think often one of the most common questions I get is like, well, what is sex magic? And then there's more, I think Tantra is more of a recognized term culturally. So often if people are not hearing Tantra, then they don't understand that sex magic or sacred sexuality is essentially the same thing. For me, my trainings, the lineage in which I have learned my practices and rituals that I use and that I teach are under the umbrella of sacred sexuality, hazo, and also sex magic. So it's sex magic practices that we're working. But it's essentially the same thing as Tantra. I recognize this, but I've learned all of this wisdom under the erotic temple priestess lineage. And so for me, that's just the language that I use. But both sex magic and Tantra involve the conscious use of sensual energy or erotic energy for spiritual purposes. But there are some distinctions between them, although I still feel like they're connected. So for me, so the whole point of sacred sexuality is this merging of sexual and spiritual. So it is using your pleasure to actually expand your spiritual channel. For women, this is so powerful because when you open your channel, you are able to receive guidance and insight from spirit, from the goddess, from God, from source energy that is going to help you to follow your divine path, which means if you are in alignment and in sync with your divine path, this means that you are going to see synchronicities, you are going to see miracles, you are going to receive blessings because of your pleasure, you are living in alignment with your truth. And you are using your power, like your essence, to lead yourself down this path. You can see why this is so powerful. So the first thing I want to talk about is focus and purpose. So sex magic primarily focuses on using sexual energy. Sorry, I have like a fur on my lip. This is a little sensual blip for you. Okay. So it uses sexual energy as this potent force to manifest specific intentions or desires. So sex magic is when you have this intention, this desire, and you are intentionally using your pleasure to expand and elevate the frequency of that desire. It's almost like you are using it to seduce that intention or desire to you. Within this, it will involve things like ritual, symbols, or this directed concentration on that intention during your pleasure practice. I love sex magic rituals. This is what I am doing daily and all the time with the women that I work with. Tantra has a more broader focus on spiritual growth and enlightenment. So Tantra is like more of this purpose of enlightenment, of connecting with spirituality. So with sexual practices being just one of the aspects. So Tantra aims to integrate and elevate all aspects of life, including sexuality, to achieve holistic transformation. For me, Sex Magick and sacred sexuality does the same, because when a woman is living from her turn on, she is filling her cup. You are literally turned on, which means you are vibrating with aliveness. And when a woman is walking around in her life, in her aliveness, this means that she's spilling from her cup over into all other areas of her life, which is why you see me using Sex Magick to work with six-figure business owners so that they can expand more and experience even more success, because those two are directly related. Okay, the other thing is intentions and goals. Sex Magick is typically geared towards achieving specific worldly goals or manifestations through the directed energy of your sexual practice. So very much similar to focus and purpose. So it is using, so this is what it is about ritual and ceremony. You are setting up space to go into a focused practice geared towards a particular goal, which means manifestation. So it's using energy to cultivate something tangible. Tantra emphasizes the union of opposites. So it's about the balance of masculine and feminine energies and spiritual enlightenment. So the goal is often about liberation and realization of the divine within and around. To me, same thing. Sex Magick, you can't practice it without that integration. It's completely about the sacred sexuality. I mean, Mary and Yeshua, this is exactly what their teachings are about, is about the inner marriage, and that you need to find this inner marriage of your masculine and feminine. Hey, Sabrina. And so you have to have this inner marriage of masculine and feminine energies so that you can actually open your channel. This is how you find balance. This is how you find alignment. And if you don't have that marriage of masculine and feminine within you, you're not going to, like, that sort of has to be in place to me, to be able to have the realization of the goals and manifestations into your reality. And 100%, this is also the whole point of pleasure. And this is why it is so powerful for men or women to connect to it, is that this is the source to liberation. This is how we find freedom, because it brings you into alignment with your truth. And it brings you in alignment with your natural and innate abundance, which feels like freedom and liberation. Okay, the next one is cultural origins. So Sex Magick, although there are various cultures and traditions that have incorporated it, it's often associated with more Western esoteric practices, including aspects of ceremonial magic and like occultism. It's super witchy. It's also very much like, for me, this is also, it's totally the Egyptian practices of the priestess. But for those of you who feel in alignment, like most of you, like, I totally, like, this is literal magic. This is sorcery. And if we look back historically to, like, in, many of us have witch wounds. We'll have remembrances from past lives where, where we've been burned at the stake, or where we have faced consequences for being a witch and for working, which means, working with the moon, working with herbalism, womb wisdom, shamanism, all of these things that we're bringing back, and that we're literally probably here in these bodies to bring back into this world now, being in the time and place where we have the capacity to use our voice to achieve these things without the consequences. Like there's something so powerful about you being here in this body that you're in now, because this is the lifetime where you're going to be able to have the impact and the influence that we didn't have in the past. So in terms of Tantra, these practices are originated in ancient Indian traditions and has been influenced by Hinduism and Buddhism. There is a rich history and diverse practices, also including rituals, meditations, and yogic techniques, of which when you're practicing ritual and ceremony with Sex Magick, you're probably going to see some of those things. Like I just had a session with a goddess where we did do a Buddhist practice that is about moving energy from the root chakra. It's actually a really delicious, it is a tantric practice, but we did it in one of our Sex Magick sessions. And it's about moving the energy, moving your pleasure with your breath in sync, and super pleasurable communication. So for us, it was like licking our lips every time that our energy, we raise the energy into a new chakra center. And so it's, this whole practice is about experiencing an orgasmic sensation without penetration. And so this is where I think, again, you know, like these two, there's a lot of weaving back and forth, but formally, those are some of the differences. And the last one that I wanted to go into was their approach to sexual energy. So Sex Magick views sexual energy as this powerful, transformative force that can be harnessed and then directed for specific outcomes. Because again, it's working with a focus, it's working with an intention, it's working within a goal. So it's using an energy to cultivate the pleasure, the expansive energy to magnetize and attract that outcome. Tantra regards sexual energy as a natural and integral part of our human existence, seeking to elevate and spiritualize this energy rather than using it solely for manifesting desires. So again, this is where, you know, I would say both acknowledge that pleasure, that this energy that we have the capacity to cultivate is natural. It is such an integral, it's like, that's the innateness of the feminine. We are born with a clitoris that is the sole purpose is pleasure. She is our literal turn on button. If God devised and divinely orchestrated our bodies to have such a part, then of course it's divine and natural and an integral part of our existence. It's like literally the if you need a symbol for why it's important to connect to your pleasure, that's it, that it is there, and that it is such a powerful pleasure center because it's literally the way that our body has been cultivated to direct us to our pleasure. It's like, it's like screaming, don't miss me, work with this is not to be missed. And yet so many people miss it. So to me, this is it. It's like, yes, it's an integral part of our human existence. And through that pleasure center in particular, and I think Sex Magick also, because it is about moving that energy, and sacred sexuality as well. It's about moving the pleasure beyond just the genital experience. So it is about tapping into the spirituality. It's the whole point is you are expanding your channel so that you can receive the divine guidance, the divine downloads from spirit. So that, for example, if you have an intention, say there is something that you want to cultivate in your business. So you have a launch coming and you want 10, you're calling in 10 divine goddesses to find their way to this space. So you could do this Sex Magick or tantric practice to expand your channel so that you can receive the divine guidance, like what actions are necessary for you to take, what messages are necessary for you to communicate. That is divine guidance. That is tapping into a spiritual energy that is going to guide you on your path. So it doesn't have to be, Tantra says it doesn't have to be solely for manifesting desires. It's simply recognizing that the divine is within and around you, but you will realize that practicing either, because you are going to receive driftwood, which is signs and synchronicities that what you are desiring and what you are cultivating is coming to you. So, you might start to see, you might have a friend who talks about how she's just started a program that has 10 women in it. Or just the little miracles, like the miracles and the beautiful divine things that happen to surprise and delight you. You might all of a sudden have like 3 women reaching out saying, hey, I've been really curious of like what you're doing lately. Do you have any offers? So these are all the ways that when you're working with either of these energies, you begin to realize that the divine exists from within you. It's like as within, so without. So this is the power of working with pleasure, is that, you begin to realize that what you are cultivating within you matches the frequency. Well, it's also about frequency. That's also it, right? Is you're setting the frequency in which you want to, the frequency that you set inside matches the frequency outside. So if you're feeling like shit and, like those days where you're just like, everything's going wrong for me, is because that's the frequency inside. So the universe is like, oh, even though you don't want it, it's like what you're caught up in. So the universe is like, oh, she wants more of this. Okay, I'll give her more of this. Whereas when you have these intentional practices and you're setting the pleasure tone that you desire, it's like, oh, she likes this. This is like the sky daddy energy I always talk about. And it's like, she wants this. Okay, let me give her more of this. And you're going to get more of those blessings and like kisses from the universe. So this was just what I wanted to come in and share. For me, I don't really see them as separate. They are one and the same. You won't hear me using the language tantra because of all of the formal trainings that I've received. It hasn't been any tantra trainings, although they have been the sex magic and sacred sexuality. And to me, we're one and the same. And for a lot of the women who have done tantra, and I'm talking about my work, they're like, oh, this sounds so much like tantric practices. And it's like, it is, I just don't call it that. So I wanted to come in and speak to that, and just sort of give this broader scope of what both are. While there are overlaps between sex magic and tantra, what they would say is that the differences lie primarily in their goals, the cultural origins, and their broader specific spiritual context within which these practices are situated. But having had a listen, you can kind of get an idea, and feel into your own discernment. I think any of these avenues are going to be so, so powerful to open. They're all about opening you to connect with your inner power, to access your desires through pleasure, and with really powerful outcomes. It's literally how you cultivate magic and miracles in your day. It can literally be how you amplify your success, and it will feel like freedom and liberation, just as, as pleasure and orgasm usually feels in your body. It's like, you get to create a life where that is happening. So thank you everyone for joining me today. This was so yummy to just hop on spontaneously and join you all here. Zoe says, I got to learn how to transform the marriage proposals into something I actually want. Yes. Yeah. Well, and that goes to why, intentions and goals are, really, really important. And this is where it gets so fun too. Like, I literally like to think of I don't really think of like source energy as God. It's like sky daddy for me, just like this ethereal masculine energy. But it's like, I am in marriage. I'm in a relationship, an esoteric relationship with sky daddy. And so like, these are like my proposals to him. Or like when I think of my desires, and it's like the masculine wants to like fulfill. And so it's like, oh, this is my desire. So, I'm going to like, how can I seduce and tantalize myself so that I feel that energy within my being, but also how can I like at the same time as I'm doing it's like kind of creepy, but really hot. I think there's like some voyeurism is like a bit of my kink, but it's like, there's this like masculine energy, like always kind of there watching over me. And it's like, how could I please him into this way where he would want to, where he's going to want to fulfill this for me. So it's seducing and, because we need to cultivate the pleasure frequency in our body. So 100% working the tools, working the practices when you're not in turn on, doing what you can to get back into turn on, and doing it in a way where, you know, when you are dancing, when you are doing a striptease, what are some of the other tools when you were practicing your own sex magic, that you're doing it to like please this, you know, this cosmic sky daddy energy as well. And you will receive the juicy rewards 100%. That's the really fun part. So, yeah, Zoe, I dare you to get on and focus in on how to actually cultivate those things that you truly want. And I'd love to hear the results and how that goes for you. So, holler, reach out if you have any questions. I desire to do more of these more often. So also keep your eyes peeled for more of these that you can hop on and join. And also, I have some super, super delicious offerings that I'm sprinkling out into the world for the next 72 hours only. And there, if you want to get in for like some VIP one-to-one coaching for women who are six-figure business owners who are ready to, in the juiciest, most delicious way possible, amplify and activate those particular goals using sex magic. So that's going to be really yummy. And there's a 1 month offer, although you get 1 week free. So five weeks of one-to-one, a 3 month, or the 6 month. So if that is something that you are looking for in your life right now, and it's not business coaching, it's because you're like, if you're a six-figure business owner, you kind of probably know what you need to be doing. But it's like, if you're there and you're like, I'm focused on expansion and reaching more of your focus and goals. So these are practices so that we can juice up your business and tantalize your desires. So it's going to be really yummy. And we'll start in the new year. So if you are just like in the hot seat, if you know that 2024 is going to be the year where you are just ready to fucking soar and just take it and fly with it, let's chat, because this is the point of these practices. It took my business from 30K to over 100K, and telling you these practices will change your lives, but they're bold and outrageous and daring. So you also have to be ready to play. All right, queens, have an amazing day. I will talk to you all soon. I love you. Mwah.